Okay, so let's sew this. I made a boo-boo, so I had to stop and do an edit. So we're back. We're going to sew the signature in to the book. Okay. Just making sure everything's in place. I'm not going to move around as we're sewing. Again, I use a hemp string and a thick, this is, I think, a upholstery needle. This is something you would sew leather or a couch, something that's not super sharp, that's going to damage fabric, but it gives good stability going through. All right, starting off, we're going to sew first the inside, the middle. We're going to put our needle through. We're going to line it up with our middle hole in our book, and we're going to go through that as well. Give it a little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. All right, and what I want to make sure too is not to pull that string all the way through, so I'm going to clip it to this clip here. You could use washi tape and like tape it down, but since I have this clip here, I'm just going to clip it. Okay, there's the front, there's the inside. This is our first signature. So now what we're going to do is where we went through, we're going to come up to the top hole and through the papers. And make sure you can see at this point, like, nothing's fully assembled. So I'm like finding the papers. Don't feel like you can't. I'm getting like a hot flash. If you don't feel like you can't wiggle around with the papers a little bit. This, it feels like really gentle and scary, but don't. Work with your paper. Move it around. Make sure you're going through everything right. Take your time. Make sure everything's lined up right. All right. So what we do, we started in the middle. We went into out here. Then from here, we went to the top, back through. So here we are. This is what it should look like. And now what we're going to do is back through the middle. And again, don't be scared to kind of pull things apart a little bit because we haven't tightened everything fully yet. Just to make sure you're getting through the right hole and not making new punctures and new parts of it. Excuse me as you see me be, there we go. And back through that middle hole. And because it's clipped, my first string's not loosening, going anywhere. Okay, so here we are. Make sure everything looks good. We're back out on the other side. I'm making sure everything's tight. This is the first top that we did. There's the front. There's the first connection in our first line. 1, 2. We're on the outside. This is where you should be. Now we're coming down to this hole here. You getting the kind of feel of it? Many of you have done this, and I feel like it's just so repetitive to show you. But just in case you're new here, and this is something you've never done. All right, look at that. We've got a whole line there. My string came out. It's all right. I'm going to re-thread this puppy. Okay, so now this is what it should look like. And we're here in the beginning. So now we're going to go here. We're not going there. We're going all the way up to the top, and we're going into this one. What we're doing here is trying to create, we want the two strings to meet in the middle on the inside when this is all done so we can tie it. All right, so everything is in now there. We have a whole line. Both top and bottom are sewn. We have one, we're back at the top. See that? We have one more hole. We're going to go back through the middle, and that's going to meet that first string that we have taped or pinned up here, clipped up to the side. And this is where we're going to be able to tie it off. So we're going right back in the middle. Right in the middle. See that? I'm going to let go of these clips now because we are sewn. This will be secure. Pull it through. See that? Both the strings are now in the middle. Make sure everything is tight on your spine before you sew so that you're not stuck with something loosey-goosey. Now, this is an option, and it's kind of like, I think, up to the journal and like how you want to sew it up. So you have this string here, Now you can tie it between this and secure it, right? And it stays down. I like to not do that because sometimes I like to add and slip things under that paper. So like you could add, I'll show you in a minute. I'm trying to tighten this up right now. There we go. It was a little loose. So for me, I don't want to trap that string. I like that length, and I can fold paper and slip it under there, and it kind of adds a little more, you know, to your signature. So again, it's up to the journaler. If you want to tie that down and keep it more secure, do that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to tie it 3-4 times, just in the middle, and cut it off. And you've sewn your first signature. See that? Look at that. I'm just going to go in here and make sure everything is flat. Give it a good, see how it looks when I open it. Make sure everything didn't shift and look nuts. So now when I open it, it doesn't have this huge gap between the spine. Whereas if you had made that hole farther back, there would have been this weird gap here. And I thought that just looks funny. So there's the first one. We're going to pop in a second one. All right, let's sew this second one up. Same thing. We're going to mark our holes on the signature. Do this again. Line it up. Make sure everything is fitting top to bottom. Hole, hole, hole. Hard time finding my holes. I'm going to do it again, and I'm using a pink marker on red, so this is why I'm having some difficulty. Line it up again. You want to measure twice, cut once. Do not put yourself in a position where you've screwed yourself. One. Alright, let's do that quick before I lose that with my blindness. Okay. Find your hole. Stick it through. Find your hole. Stick it through. Find your hole. Stick it through. Okay. And make sure everything looks good. Remember, let's put some clips on here. String our thread, thread our needle, string our thread. Okay. Remember, starting in the middle, don't want that cord to go all the way through, so make sure you grab it before it does, and we're gonna clip it. Coming through the middle. Almost done here, folks. Almost done. Coming through the middle one more time. Let's clip it. See that? Clip it in so it doesn't go anywhere. Pull it tight. We're going to the top. Alright, make sure as you go that you're going the right way. I guess this could work the other way. You could start bottom up. I don't know. Alright. Going through the top. See that? Going back through the middle. So now that you've done one, you should be feeling a little more comfortable. You can move a little faster. Make sure you're pulling tight. See, even with eyeballing it, it's not, again, if you take your time and you really make sure you're measuring and, you know, have a good eyeball, I think when you do it enough too, you kind of figure out, okay, we just came out the middle, we're going down to the end. Pulling through, making sure everything's taut. We're going back up to the top. Making sure everything's nice and tight. I'm going to release this string here now. And then we're going back into the middle. Make sure you're tight. Make sure everything's clean. Last one through the middle, and we're done. Done. Oh, let me put him back on his magnet. Be clean. Trying. There we go. So we're back in the middle where we tie it off. Just make sure, again, that your strings are tight here. Like I'm going to loosen this up. See, it's a little loose. This is not. Let's tighten that. So to do that, you're just going to pull on all your connections here. Just make sure everything has been. And then again, I'm not going to tie that middle piece down. I want to leave it open so I could add some things in the middle there. And I'm going to make 3 or 4 knots. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cut off any extra. Clips away. We're sewn in, second signature. See that? And then you also have a good amount of space. Let's go in and fold this down, make sure that's opening and closing properly. And now, even though it looks like you have a big gap here, what you have is a good amount of space, though, to fill in. And because these are folders, these get thick, build up. My spine was a curvy spine. I'm going to curve it up a little bit more. There we go. So now we have the Mary Poppins sewn. Now this is where you would, I guess, add a button in. I feel like that's like an intermediate step. If you've not sewn before, let's just get sewing first and then we can add in. But basically you're just sewing a button. Like before you would go back down to this spot, you would put your button in, right? So yeah, we're sewn in, front cover, back cover, we taped it on the edges. Now we have our signatures, right? Look at that, look at that. And is it like Super Mary Poppins theme? No, but this again, I like that. I have a conundrum when it comes to signatures, and like, if I filled this all with Mary Poppins themed stuff, like now, I would be covering it when I used it. So like, help me, y'all. Tell me what I should be doing. Okay, so there's the end. And let's glue in a bag. So the bag is where we're going to hold our parasol. And because we only did 2 signatures, and because there is space, there's space for this parasol. All right? So I have my bag. I'm just going to measure where I'm going to put it, because I'm going to glue it down, and then I'm going to cut the top. And then I'm going to use the crimping to give it a little bit of a textured edge there. So again, does it need to be perfect? No, it does not. That's good for something else. All right, so I'm going to fold. This is going to be the front because I need the space for it to fold out. So we're going to glue. Did I do that? Let me see what I did actually. No, I did the opposite. So don't fit. I glued it the other way. So let's do what I did originally. Forget that. We're going to glue this side. Right here. I'm going to glue that. I'm not going to glue the top. I'm just going to glue this section here to the bottom of the book in the back. Okay? Good old fabric tack. This is like my first time ever like, ooh, making a second journal like this. You know, I like make one and I'm done. All right. So while that dries for a minute there, let's talk about this parasol. So the parasol comes white, just totally white. And literally I took acrylic paint, you know, just basic, any paint. Like I wouldn't recommend watercolor, but like an acrylic, a kid's paint for school. And then I did orange pink and red lines. I just literally line, line, line. So there's really no science behind that. Pick the colors you want. Maybe you want red, white, and blue to match the red and blue theme that she has a lot. I really love the blue and the bright colors. So in this case, I made the parasol to match that. So in the end, what we have here is, now that we have our book and it's put together, we glued that bag in the back, and what it gives us is this. And I'm thinking, it looks like maybe I did glue it all the way, so maybe let's glue this as well, because I'm still getting some oomph here, right? So let's glue it all, because it's making me feel like it's not. So let's just throw all this glue on and let's just slap this baby down. Okay. And of course, you probably should just let that stride before you move on and like stick things in it. And of course, I'm moving fast, so. All right, so in this case, this is where then your parasol would fit. Now this is a bigger parasol, so don't be like, that's crazy. This is the smaller parasol. So that goes in there, and then when you close it up, there's still enough room, you know, so. Like I could have sewn this one maybe a little closer here to give it a little more room for there. So you can think about that, you know, as you're making yours, if this is something you decide to make, is making sure your signatures are more in the front so you have room for that parasol in the back. Or if you don't want the parasol, you don't have to put it in. It just adds like a super cute, super duper touch to the Mary Poppins Journal, right? Oh, it's so cute. I thought this was so fun. Okay, so the parasol, again, you're just painting lines. And I painted the top orange. I put a little red dab. So, ribbon on the top to match. So here we go. And then I think the last touches that I would do to this book, and I believe if you got the kit, what you got is some of this. I literally tied a bow, and how you attach it's up to you. I put it on a clip. I added a charm. I think I put some charms in there. I added a little spoon. And then I added these. I'm going to do this here too. So these are like edge enforcers, or really just embellishments for the side of your book. I'm going to do a different style. These just glue on the corner edges. So they're going to glue on right here. And they're going to glue on right there. So I'm going to add those on just to these two edges. I don't even think I'm going to put them on in the back. And that's just going to give a little embellishment right there. And again, we have our bag in there. We have our parasol. I do have a charm. Now in the kits, you guys, if you did get the kits, you got the teacup. I threw in a spoon. I threw in a few charms, and I threw in extra bows. But the rest is up for you to decide what you want to put on. Some of my stuff is like I don't have extras. And also the charm that you got, if you're a Patreon member, the charm that you got, your spoon charm, you can also take apart some of that if you want, like these pieces, and add them in to your charm for your journal. But what I do when I do that is I make a hole on my spine with a crocodile, and wherever you want to put it, I don't know if I'm necessarily putting a big charm on this one, but in this case, I put a hole in a brad, and I like to hook my charm onto it, and it's not like a bookmark method. It's just something that hangs right there as it's on my shelf, and I use it. So again, that's it for the Mary Poppins. You can have a lot of fun. Like, this is tape I got from Michael's. It's just measuring tape. You can use this to kind of embellish your book. I like to add tickets all over the place. So in the original one, I put tickets on the edges of some of the papers. I put tickets in the back of the book. Kind of goes with that carnival theme I was going with. So tickets go a long way. I'm just going to shove those right in the back right now. But there you go. This is the sewn Mary Poppins Journal with a parasol. And it's the cute little thing. The colors are fantastic. Again, what you put inside is up to you, how you embellish it. Any advice you want to give me on how to create insides without attachments would be great, because I clearly have an issue. And yeah, so I hope you make one too. Again, this is a cereal box book. We started with the basic outer shell of a cereal box. We cut it down to size. We added some digital prints and printed and glued them to that. Again, structurally, you can thicken it up with paper, thicker paper cardstock. We sewed 2 signatures in, and if you got a kit, you can add a parasol to the back by adding a little bag to store it in. And again, make a cute charm. You can add bows in, things that are like this. Like for me, I felt like this is a great way to add in a little extra touch of embellishment without like using paper, you know, issues. So there you go. Mary Poppins Journal, guys. Hope you make one. Super fun. Maybe one of these will end up in the shop. We'll have to see. Have a great day. Happy crafting.